Welcome everyone to my chess channel where I share exciting and high-quality chess battles. Today I bring you a thrilling encounter, a mind-blowing fight between two world-class players. Fabiano Caruana is playing white, making the first move, while Gabor Kun takes black, defending from the queen side. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the game. The battle begins. Caruana slams a flower on the board like dropping the war drums. His pawn charges forward, claiming the center and screaming, "I'm the boss here!" Nay. Gabor Kun coolly answers with e6, setting up the French defense fortress. "Fine, you want to fight? Let's lock horns," he seems to say, preparing for a slow and grinding war. Caruana pushes d4, planting another flag in the center. Now White's army holds a proud pawn duo, standing shoulder to shoulder, daring Black to challenge them. Black replies d5, striking back immediately. The tension in the middle is like two bulls charging each other, and the crowd can already smell the clash coming. Caruana develops nc3, bringing the knight to the battlefield. This horse is itching to jump on anyone foolish enough to stay in the center too long. Gabor plays nf6, bringing his knight to square off against Caruana's pawn on e4. The two armies are staring each other down across the trenches. Caruana plays bg5, pinning that knight to the queen. It's like yelling, "You're not moving anywhere, buddy." Black is already feeling the pressure. Black calmly plays bb4, throwing in the pin of his own. "Two can play that game," he says, pinning Caruana's knight to the king. Things are heating up fast. White goes f5, boldly pushing the pawn right into Black's knight's face. The knight is suddenly under fire and must choose between fight or flight. Gabor kicks with h6, telling the bishop on g5, "Back off, or I'll smack you." The pawn threatens to chase the bishop away with g5 next. Caruana retreats with bd2, calmly stepping back, but still keeping an eye on that bishop pair. He's ready for the next punch. Black takes action, bxc3, snapping off Caruana's knight. The bishop sacrifices itself to double White's pawns. "First blood is drawn," the crowd gasps. White responds bxc3, capturing back with the b-pawn. Caruana now has doubled pawns, but also opens the b-file like loading a sniper rifle for later. Black plays e4, jumping right into White's territory. The knight is sitting there smugly, saying, "Catch me if you can." Caruana fires qg4, bringing the queen out early, aiming straight at g7. The threat is real, mate in one if Black falls asleep. Gabor defends with g6, calmly covering g7. "Not today," he says, but now his dark squares are looking a little drafty. White develops bd3, pointing the bishop like a laser toward s7. The attack is building up. Black must be careful. Black strikes back and it's T2, chopping off Caruana's bishop. The knight roars with pride. Will it survive the next move? Caruana recaptures with KXD2, moving his king early. The monarch is out in the open, but Caruana smirks. This is all part of the plan. Black goes C5, throwing a pawn grenade into the center. The position starts cracking open, and White's king is feeling the heat. White jumps NH3, bringing the knight toward F-hour. The horse is ready to leap into the fight and protect his king. Gabor develops N-cheeks, more reinforcements arriving. Black now has all the pieces pointing toward the center. Big trouble could be brewing for White. Caruana calmly plays BB5, pinning that knight on C8. The battlefield just got even sharper. One wrong step and pieces will start falling. Black says, "Fine," and plays CXD4, blowing open the center completely. The king on D2 starts sweating. Caruana plays BX6, taking the knight and checking the king. The bishop sacrifices itself like a kamikaze pilot, but the knight is gone. Black recaptures BX6, fixing his pawn structure but leaving doubled pawns. The queen side is now one big weakness. Caruana pushes CXD4, taking back the pawn and regaining full control of the center. The king feels a bit safer now. Gabor plays C5, striking again. Black refuses to back down, throwing another pawn forward like a battering ram. White responds with ER-Dion, lining up the rook with Black's queen. The B-file pressure is now terrifying. Black calmly steps K5, check. The queen suddenly pops out like a sniper shot, forcing Caruana's king to move again. White blocks with C3, using the pawn as a human shield to stop the queen's check. The king breathes for a moment. Black plays CXD4, ripping that pawn shield apart. The king's cover is once again shattered. Danger is back. Caruana captures QXD4, centralizing the queen like a boss. Now White's queen is both attacking and defending at the same time. Gabor castles 00, finally tucking his king to safety. The rook on Fate is ready to join the war. Caruana plays NF, bringing his knight to the perfect outpost. The steed now stares at key squares, dreaming of jumping into E6 one day. Black develops Bas6, activating the last sleeping bishop and targeting that C4 square. The tension is at its peak. Middle game fireworks are about to start. Caruana doubles the rooks with RB4, like rolling a tank onto the B-file. That rook is now glaring at Black's queen. This is getting dangerous. Black answers with Rob8, bringing the second rook over. It's a full-on rook showdown on the B-file. Someone's going to blink first. White strikes with Ra4, sliding the rook up aggressively. The pressure on Black's queen side is now suffocating. Black pushes RB2, infiltrating with a check. The rook storms into white's camp, forcing the king to scramble. Caruana calmly plays Klicke, sidestepping the check. The king is now hiding on the queen's side, trusting his pieces to shield him. Gabor continues with qb5, doubling the pressure on the b-file. Black is threatening to crush white if he makes one false move. White snaps for xo6, gobbling up the e6 pawn with style. The rook is now on a6, waving at black's queen. Come get me if you dare! Najarai. Black answers rebate, retreating the rook but keeping control of the file. The rook is still eyeing that b2 square for later chaos. Caruana plays nd3, pulling the knight back to a defensive post. The knight is now a bodyguard, covering key squares around the king. Black responds with re2, swinging the rook to the second rank. Black's rooks are suddenly monsters, cutting off white's king from escaping. White slides ra4, pulling the rook back to safety. Caruana is regrouping for the next wave of attack. Black advances a5, pushing a pawn to harass the rook. The pawn says, "Move, or I'll hit you." Nee. Caruana coolly retreats ra3, keeping the rook active. And here we transition to the endgame? Pawns are falling, rooks are invading. This is going to be bloody. Black plays Ca6, bringing the queen back to target c4 Torai. The queen is now lurking dangerously near white's king. Caruana pushes f3, preparing to chase away the invading rook. White is building a pawn wall to lock black's pieces out. Gabor sacrifices with rxg2. Rook takes pawn. The rook rips open white's king side like breaking through a castle gate. Caruana plays rb3, counterattacking. Now the rook is lined up on the b-file, eyeing black's weak pawns. Black answers with r8, calmly defending. The rook is now ready to fight for the open file. White doubles with Rabone. Both rooks are now screaming down the b-file. It's a classic heavy piece battery ready to blow up black's position. Black calmly plays rc4, putting a rook right in the middle of the board, a nasty thorn in white's position. Caruana slides qa3, bringing the queen to join the rooks. All white pieces are now coordinated. This is scary. Gabor pushes key-ce, setting up counterplay. The queens are now staring each other down like snipers across a ruined city. White jumps nf4. The knight leaps forward like a warhorse, aiming at the juicy d5 and e6 squares. Black strikes with d4, shoving the pawn right in white's face. The board is about to explode. Caruana plays qg3, queen slides over to attack, and threatens ga6. The pressure on black's king is unbearable. Gabor brings Ragane check. The rook invades with a brilliant tempo move. Caruana's king is under fire again. Caruana runs with kc2, stepping toward the center. This king is brave, or maybe just crazy. Black captures Rx bone, rook takes rook. The B file suddenly belongs to black. Caruana calmly takes back kx bone, king takes rook. The king is now fighting like a soldier on the front lines. Gabor plays dxc3, pawn takes pawn, I. Black is now just 2 steps away from promoting a queen. White responds with nxg6, knight takes pawn on g6 with a fork. This is devastating. Rook and queen are suddenly under threat. Black plays qc5, stepping aside and keeping the queen active. Black is still fighting tooth and nail. Caruana drops qd8, a savage check. The queen is now right in black's backyard, smelling blood. Gabor steps k7, tucking the king into the corner, hoping to survive the storm. Caruana jumps and fight, knight check. The king is being chased like a mouse. This is a total hunt. Black goes kg7, running to the other corner, but it's too late. Danger is everywhere. Caruana ends it with ndicx, a crushing knight capture with check. Black's position collapses completely. Gabor resigns. White wins this bloody war. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to support the channel. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.